Okay, guys, be prepared for a little bit of a rant here, but I get so sick and tired of the slopaganda coming out of China. And this time around, we've got another viral tweet, okay? By somebody called Patricia Mo, I guess. And if you read the tweet, well, can you just read it for me?
Yeah,
can you read that?
The main honest insight from my travels in China. By the way, when you have honest insight in there, what is this, like Honest Abe's secondhand car dealership?
It's like, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, that the quality of life is much better than the U.S. on a pure well-being, safety, physical, and social infrastructure level. Chongqing, a Tier 2 city, is much more developed than all Tier 1 cities combined. As a woman, I can walk around at 1 a.m. and feel safe. Children play freely in street alleys.
That's where you want children to play, is in alleyways.
And the parks are filled with elderly people dancing, singing, and communing. If cities can enable women, elderly, and youth to thrive, the rest is taken care of. This is inspiring for me in my social infrastructure building efforts in San Francisco, and we should draw more inspiration from China than anything else. Wow, that is a bit on the nose, isn't it? What did you notice about this?
Okay, number one, I noticed the amount of views it got. Okay, I took this screenshot at the beginning of the week, so it's probably more by now. But 3.6 million views when I took the screenshot.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed about it is that those aren't real photos. They're stock photos.
Yep.
In fact, if you look closely, I'll show you an example. She didn't even remove the watermarks.
But wait a minute, this was honest insight from her travels in China.
If the photos aren't real, if they're fake, then of course, let's...
By the way, do you know how many channels there are now of people in Chongqing sneaking videos out about the absolute slums and pollution and poverty all over this city? It's a very rough city.
Before we even continue, let's quash this from our own experience. Having visited Chongqing myself, you visited too. Very polluted, very run down.
Very slummy. Lots of slums, like more so than a lot of other cities in China.
As soon as you step into that city, because you see, she's shown that Hongyadong area again, which is like it's as if you show Times Square. And
Times Square, this is all of New York City.
This is America.
Yes,
this is Times Square.
America,
that's what they do. But during the day, and I've shown it before, it looks awful. It's polluted, it's grubby, it's run down, it's filthy. If you go into the city, you see wires everywhere, you see prostitutes, you see like the real slums. It's not good.
Running ditches with sewage and stuff in them.
Chongqing,
it's gross.
Chongqing has a certain appeal to it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is a mega city, but it's not clean.
No.
It's not the infrastructure isn't very good there. No. It's got that stupid train that goes through a building that we talked about. Yeah, exactly. But look, there's a lot of stuff here that we could talk about.
There's definitely homeless people, by the way.
Lots of homeless people.
You should check those. Type in like Chongqing streets or whatever on YouTube. There's so many Chinese people making these videos of just like street life there.
Walking.
It's rough.
Yeah, because this continues, by the way, and I've just cut it out because she kept replying to this post saying, I didn't see any homeless people there. And it's just... And, like all the usual... tropes, it's like, China does nothing wrong. China's a utopia. So, of course, I noticed that it's being boosted by other Chinese shills and people that work for Chinese state media.
Interesting. That's always a warning sign.
And that makes sense as to why it has so many views. It's because if it's getting boosted by the Chinese state and people connected to the Chinese state, that's why.
Yeah.
It's obviously being embedded and botted around and whatever. Very well-known person who works for Chinese state media and a propagandist for China, Cyrus Jansen, put this out, which says, this is a much needed and healthy dose of nuance about China. I love the big takeaway. We should learn more from China. This woman lives in blah, blah, blah. So he shared this out, okay? And that's when I really started to take notice. And so I had a little reply to him here, which I just said, how can you take this seriously? She used a stock image in her post and didn't even remove the watermark. This is propaganda straight up. Even the pictures aren't real. I know your job is to make China look better than the USA, but this is just sloppy. And it is sloppy, right? Yeah. Let's take a look at a close-up of the pictures that she posted. Right? So this was her post. And if you look at the second picture, see, it's still got the watermarks. So she literally went online to search for a stock photo that looks nice at night. Now, if she had been there, like she claims, which maybe she did, surely she's got photos she took herself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Surely.
This is slopaganda.
It's
I like how
super
this got
slopaganda.
3 million views.
3 million views for stock photos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then CCP simps reposted it.
Yes, all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's why I got so many views.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind that people can look at this and say, okay, it's kind of like as if you had a, I don't know, tackle and bait business, right? And you're like, our tackle and bait's the best in the world. Then you post stock photos of some guy like fishing and it's got like, you know, gettyimages.org, pay for it here.
And it's not your shop.
It's not even from your country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just nonsense. Yeah. It's just, you can make anything up with stock photos. Anyway, so just pointing out that it's fake pictures, which sets a precedence here. Then I started to notice the comments. Lots of support for this, obviously. People saying how amazing this whole thing was. And this guy, for instance, says, have you seen the amount of people she triggered, lol? So I replied, if someone posted stock footage of San Francisco and said there were no homeless people there, loads of people would be triggered too.
So wait a minute. Like,
lies trigger people.
But a huge chunk of these comments were positive. Like, wow,
most of them
amazing.
Most of them are positive.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got people like me going in there and being like, come on, what is this nonsense?
Yeah.
And look at the reply. She said she hasn't seen any. She didn't say there weren't any homeless people in the city. Every city isn't perfect. She's just showcasing an impressive city. What's the big deal, Winston? She's not showcasing an impressive city, by the way. She said, USA needs to learn from China. This city is better than all American cities. Yeah. That's what she said.
Which is just, it's nonsense.
It's not, first of all, that's not true
Yeah.
as far as infrastructure and stuff is concerned. But all of it's rubbish.
Yeah.
And so I just replied, I haven't seen any homeless people in San Francisco. They don't exist, and there are no gun crimes in the USA. I can say whatever I want, doesn't make it true. I'm trying to prove
it's not true.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's what they do. It's a great example.
And that's the whole point of this, is that because Chinese media is so shut off, okay? Because the only time you ever get to hear about Chongqing is through these kind of pro-CCP posts and things like that. There's nothing there to prove you wrong.
No.
Whereas if you've never visited San Francisco before and all you see are lovely pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff, and you watch Full House or something like that, okay, you think it's amazing, right? Yeah. And unless the news, which is free and open in America, you know, if they weren't showing the homeless problems and the drug problems and all the theft and all the, I don't know, shoplifting and all the terrible things that happen in San Francisco, if you didn't see that stuff on the media and you'd never been to San Francisco, you'd think it's amazing.
Yeah, what would you know?
Yeah, you wouldn't know. And that's the case here, right? Yeah. It's easy to make up crap.
Yeah.
And so I decided to have a little experiment. So I did the same thing. I took her tweet, I just changed it from USA to China.
Yeah, it's exactly the same words.
Yeah, and I put stock images of the Golden Gate Bridge here. You can see it still has the LMAs all over it and stuff. I just had to do it exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to see, are people going to get triggered? Because according to them, it's only when you talk about China, right?
Yes.
So I did the same thing, like my honest inside travels in the USA.
That the quality of life is much better than China on a pure well-being, safety, physical, and social infrastructure level. San Fran is much more developed than all Tier 1 cities in China combined. I can walk around at 1 a.m. and feel safe. And then you added the rest.
So it's basically the same thing. Yeah. I copied it and pasted what she said, right? Immediately, lol, just confirming what we already knew. Sturzel talks a lot of shite.
Oh.
Shameless loser. Oh. You can't even lie convincingly anymore. Weak bait. There's 0% chance you felt safer in the middle of the night here than you did in China. Stop lying. I get that you've been audience captured and you got a family to take care of, but it's okay to say something positive about China sometimes. Ha ha ha. Please then do us a favor. Stay in the fucking US shithole and do not come back to China, lol.
And that came out like a minute after.
Yeah, literally a minute after I posted this damn thing, right? And then got people like legitimately. Now, these are the people that are like, I'm sorry, Winston, I've been in San Francisco. Probably if you compare it to South Africa, you may feel safer. But in China, you see women riding bicycles at 2 a.m., contrary to San Francisco with tons of homeless. You just do not see that. So you see they posted links to San Francisco will sue you if you leave. And I don't know if you can do that any longer. It's gotten bad. They shit in the streets and, you know, like all the stealing. Okay. And that's true. We were there. And we saw the shit. We saw them smear it on the church door. Remember
That's
that?
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also remember, we thought it was actually a really nice place too.
It was fun.
It's got its
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs. Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely a mess.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't want to live there.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
We can see that.
Yes.
Talk about it. Post about it. And look at what happens. Look
Yes.
at what happens when you try to do the China treatment, the propaganda treatment, the exact same treatment.
Exactly the same.
About a city in America that's openly transparent about what it is.
Yes.
Right? Everyone can see the problems, right?
Yes.
And the vitriol, the hatred, the unbelievable insanity that comes
I mean, there
out
are
of that.
hundreds of these things that came out.
Yeah.
But here's the whole be all and the end all of this experiment is, okay? We all know that there are problems in America.
Yeah.
But the only reason we know about this is because it's in the news and it's allowed to be posted on social
you're
media. Okay? The same is not, it's not the same in China. Okay?
No.
First of all, it's not in the news. When there's problems with homelessness, when there's actual murders and crimes and things like that, you don't hear about it. Nope. You don't hear about these problems because they're not in the media and you can't post about them on social media.
Right.
If you try to post very negative things about any city in China, it gets removed.
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
Yep.
So you don't see it. So the people living in China that don't go to Chongqing, they don't know about it. And people outside of China that don't go to Chongqing don't know about it either.
Yep.
I guarantee you, go to Chongqing and walk around. Don't just go to the bloody tourist
go
area.
everywhere.
Walk around. It's just the same as in San Francisco. You go to the touristy areas, you'll have a great time. You have to walk around, you know. You have to go to the areas where you see all the homeless people. You have to go to the more dangerous areas to get that feeling for what it really is. Go to Chongqing and walk around. Go walk around in the slums. Walk around on the outskirts. You'll find homeless people very quickly.
Yep.
You'll find that it's not safe very quickly. You'll feel very unsafe in certain areas.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge is go see it for yourself, you know?
Don't. We're not telling anyone you shouldn't go to China.
No, okay, well.
You know. Yeah, if you want to fight on this, then go.
So anyway, that's the end of Slopaganda. Just wanted to prove to you once again that these absurd tweets that go out there just saying Chongqing's amazing and like it's a utopia over there, you know, you can't believe it. Even though they're getting millions of views and being shoved in your face because of the algorithm and all the boosting from the CCP shills and propagandists and so on.
Yep.
Take this one thing away, though, is that this tweet that went viral used fake stock photos, could not even use photos that they took themselves.
Nope.
And that proves something to you, is that it wasn't good enough for them to photo.
Nope.
You know, they couldn't take a photo and say, like, that looks good, I'm going to post it.
Nope.
They had to go online and search beautiful picture of Chongqing at night.
Yep. That's
you know, because all their photos look like mud.
And that makes everything a moot point.
Yeah, exactly.
Check.
Yeah, it's safe.
And he's like, ha ha! Ooh, smashes the check.
It's just such nonsense. Why did you show me this?
That's not a prank.
No.
You just slapped your wife.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
This guy's sleeping.
Temporary tattoo.
What's a temporary tattoo of a wound? He starts freaking out.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's like, what the?
Oh, that's gross.
I said it crosses the line.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.